I love this stage. Hello, and welcome to the vBrownBag presentation, one of many tech talks that are happening today. I'm here to talk about something called Appliance, All the Things. The reason why I picked this is because we're sort of changing the way that we're doing things in a lot of the virtualization space, and VMworld is no better place to discuss that. And before we get started, it kind of makes sense for you to find out exactly who I am and why I'm here. So my name is Wright. I'm actually part of the vBrownBag crew on occasion as well. I'm a systems architect, a blogger, and a cloud pundit. I just made that one up, but it's kind of a fun title to have. I blog regularly at discoposse.com, which has very little to do with disco or posse, strangely. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at discoposse. And if you want to search on LinkedIn, I'd be happy to connect with folks that want to talk. And you can find me. I'm at Eric Wright, Disco Posse, or just look for Disco Posse on LinkedIn. Trust me, there's only one of us. Now, we're here at VMworld, and we watched the keynote earlier, and one of the big focuses of the keynote was talking about change. Change is coming in the fundamental shift in how we're consuming technology. I'm not going to talk about SDN and SDDC necessarily, because I want to move down to a lower layer. Unfortunately, with all the talk about SDN and SDDC, what we have is folks that are dealing at a very high level. Maybe it's a little enterprisey, but there's a lot of other folks that are working in the SMB space, and they're doing things differently now than they were before. And part of what I want to talk about is how we're doing it differently. Now, we're going to talk about appliances, but don't worry, we're not going to talk about these kind of appliances. It's really more a different kind of appliance. Now, if you don't already know about something, it's called OVF, or Open Virtualization Format. This is a standard that was created by a standards body that contribute to the idea of creating packaged virtual appliances that can be used on multiple platforms. Any hypervisor that's able to leverage the OVA and OVF formats, it allows you to create one single standard appliance in order to deploy into any location. Even if it's single hypervisor, it's a great advantage rather than having to go and deploy from ISOs and run installations. And if you're doing this work, in the office, a lot of times people are starting to leverage this even for their own application environments. OVF allows you to create one single machine. It has a file which talks about the description of the metadata that's inside it and the actual disk file itself. It can also be exported into what's called an OVA file, which is a single all-encompassing file which contains all the metadata information, and it also can deploy the actual virtual disk. We see this all the time. You've probably done it already. The VCSA, the vCenter Server Appliance, is one of the more popular OVF machines that gets deployed. And the reason this is because VMware themselves have decided that they want to move in a direction where it's simpler to push environments out into their vSphere environment. Not only vSphere, but you can actually move up into vCloud or vCloud Air. The advantage to using appliances is that you can use one single format and you can move around from place to place. Now, I'm not a developer. You're not a developer, maybe. What about just using these things? Now, the example I've given here is VCOps. If anybody's used VCOps and tried to deploy it, it's a horror show. But that's okay, because you don't have to deal with that anymore. You can actually run this through deploying the OVF machines that they deliver with it, and using those OVFs, then you can actually very simply deploy a couple of machines into the environment. It'll ask you for information which can be written into IP information, where your data storage on, and it deploys and does all of the work for you, instead of having all that hand-holding we had before. There's actually something called the VMware Virtual Appliance Marketplace. This marketplace is an open area where registered OVFs and OVA formats can be put in, and you can go and just see what's available. You probably have vendors today like F5 and VM Turbo and other folks that have OVAs available where you can just go and download them directly from the marketplace. And in fact, if you use vSphere and vCenter, you can search the marketplace directly right from that environment. There's also VMware Ready, which are a certification program, which means that they've met a particular standard that it automatically aligns with all of the requirements for storage and networking inside a vSphere environment. There's really not much more to show you, but what I want to get you to do is think about The reason why we're moving to appliances is about simplicity and consistency. Take away all the SDDC and SDN. The reality is we want to make things easier to consume and better for our customers in order to do. If you can take a look at what's going to happen down the road, who knows what we may see, but more and more open virtual format and open virtual appliances are going to be coming. So if you can get a chance to look for it, I highly recommend you do. And if you can, appliance all the things. And that's kind of all I have to say today, so thank you very much for watching.